Well, welcome everybody to the second HiveFest. I'm super excited to be here, and like everyone said, I hope we can do this in person next year. But anyway, I am here to talk about not specifically just Splinterlands, which I have a feeling most of you are familiar with, but more specifically how Splinterlands kind of works together with Hive, some of the challenges we faced. Roland kind of mentioned a bit about that, and how the Hive blockchain has basically enabled us to be as successful as we have been, and enable the growth that we've seen so far and that we expect to have going forward. So first, I want to start with kind of by the numbers. We're already at that slide. So currently, Splinterlands players in total are doing over 4 million transactions on the Hive blockchain every day. That's just from one application, and obviously Hive is able to handle that no problem. And even though it's been able to handle that kind of volume for many years, it's still way ahead of the majority of chains that are out there. We've been creating around 200,000 accounts every month. And I'm sure, a good number of those are bots or people just creating many accounts to try to farm rewards and that stuff. But still, a very significant portion of that are definitely new users who, didn't know anything about the Hive blockchain before and are coming in through various channels and promotions and things that we've done, and are sort of getting acquainted to the Hive blockchain inadvertently through Splinterlands. And we do definitely want to work more in the future on getting people, not just to use Splinterlands, but to also expand into the wider Hive ecosystem, kind of, slowly but surely. One big thing that's been posted about a lot is that we have burned almost 2 million Hive on account creation fees so far. That's one of those things that I'm not sure how sustainable that will be as the Hive price keeps going up, and that's, I'm sure, what we all hope will happen. So that's kind of an area we need to look into from a scalability perspective. But at the moment, that's a ton of money, over $1.5 million at current prices. But we're more than happy to do that, because that just means there's that much more money coming into the product, and it kind of shows the real use case of Hive, right? It's if you have applications like Splinterlands that want to run on the blockchain, they need to pay for the services that the blockchain provides. And account creation fees are one way that we do that. The other way is powering up Hive for resource credits, which then we use to delegate out to players as needed. So this year, really over the past 4 or 5 months, we have powered up an additional 700,000 Hive, in addition to the 800,000 or so that we had previously. And we plan to continue powering up Hive, going forward as we continue to grow. So between burning Hive for account creation fees, powering up Hive, there's going to be a lot of Hive being bought up off the markets and burned or locked up just from Splinterlands. And then we hope also that there will be many other similarly successful products on Hive that are doing the same thing. And that can do wonders for the Hive price and this ecosystem as a whole. And then the last 2 points are just based on volume. So these, when we were pulling kind of metrics for this talk, I was really actually surprised at the volume that we've been seeing on Hive pairs. It's actually up there on par with a lot of kind of much bigger platforms. And for those of you who've been around this ecosystem for a number of years, it's kind of always been the case where anything on Hive, just very small numbers, not anywhere in comparison to other platforms that have been a lot worse tech. But now we're starting to see, just with this is only looking at Splinterlands assets, there's been over $300 million of total trading volume in the diesel pools, and there's over $600,000 of volume every day, against Hive pairs on the Hive engine market. So we're super excited to be putting up these kind of numbers, because obviously it's good for us, but then also just because of how it benefits, and kind of shows the world the value of the Hive ecosystem. And we hope to keep increasing that very significantly, and we hope to see other applications doing the same. All right, so okay, next slide. Oh, you're on top of that, Roland. So here's some of the I guess the issues that we've run into, or the things that we've had to deal with, I'll say, and how we've handled them to deal with kind of our growth. over the last 6 months or so. So one thing we've done is that originally we were creating Hive blockchain accounts for every single person who just signed up for the game with their email address. And that, as you can see from our account creation fees that we spent, was totally not sustainable. So we kind of implemented our own version of light accounts where people can sign up for Splinterlands and they get a auto-generated account name that's not a Hive account. But they're still able to play the game. They're still able to hold assets in that account. But really, we hold those assets, and we have a bunch of like SL proxy accounts that we create that hold the assets on behalf of all those light account players. And then when they need to submit a transaction to the blockchain, they use an API that we created, and then we'll broadcast the transaction from one of those proxy accounts with them listed as like the beneficiary, you could say. And then our system picks that up and processes it. So it's a way where we can allow people to come in and try the game for free, and get involved in the space. And then if they're interested, they can buy what we call the Summoner Spellbook, which is when they get their actual Hive account created. Another major issue was resource credits, and this is still kind of an outstanding issue for us. And as a result, we had to move the battle-related transactions off the blockchain. So currently, when you battle in Splinterlands, you still create a Hive transaction and you sign it with your keys. But instead of broadcasting it to the blockchain, it's just sent to our servers and to our APIs. And this is really because it was just getting extremely out of control for us to be able to allocate the resource credits or the Hive power really to all the players enough to support all the battles that we were having on the platform. So the Hive blockchain itself can handle that many transactions. And we're happy to get a significant amount of Hive powered up to handle the resource credits. But the fact that you can't separate resource credit delegation from Hive power delegation, and you need to kind of manage each account individually, made it not really work for us. So there's been talk for a number of years about resource credit delegation and delegation pools, and we're really looking forward to seeing some of that come to life, so we can start putting more of the activity back on the blockchain. And then the last thing kind of goes to what Roland mentioned. We started having so many transactions being broadcast that it actually caused a lot of Hive nodes, public Hive RPC nodes, to go down or to struggle, which was causing problems for everyone on the chain. And so basically what we ended up doing was we now, if you go to the Splinterlands website and you interact with the game and you need to submit a transaction to the blockchain, you only sign the transaction locally in your browser, either through the browser or through Hive Keychain. You'll just sign the transaction, and then you send the signed transaction to a new service that we set up, which is our transaction broadcast API. And then we send all those signed transactions. But that way, we are not adding any volume to the public nodes that people are running on Hive, and we shouldn't be causing any problems for the broader Hive community. We're responsible for running our own Hive node cluster with enough to handle our volume, and then everyone in Splinterlands can sign their transactions using their keys and submit it to us to broadcast to the blockchain. Now, of course, you don't have to submit it to us if you don't want. So even though we're kind of acting as a centralized mechanism to broadcast those transactions, anyone can just submit transactions themselves in any way they want. So we're just really offering that service as an option in order to just increase the volume of transactions that can be broadcast per second without adding any additional load on the public nodes that people are mostly running as a service to the Hive community. All right, let's go to the next slide. Oh, here we are. Bridges and integrations. So this is kind of some stuff that we're working on for the future, or some things that have happened recently that I wanted to talk about that I think will really also benefit Splinterlands and the broader Hive community. So the first one is these semi-decentralized bridges from Hive to external chains, and it's much more than bridges really. We're working on top of what the user FBSLO, who I think is in the audience, so say hi to him. He did a lot of work building this decentralized bridge platform to be able to transfer Hive tokens, Hive and HBD to chains like Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain or Polygon, so they can be traded there on those DeFi platforms and then sent back. So just a standard bridge. And it works by having multi-sig accounts on both ends. So there's a multi-sig Hive wallet, and there will be a multi-sig smart contract on Ethereum or the other chain. And then the multi-sig authorities will be validators that can be, elected or voted on or chosen in any number of ways. And those validators run software that pick up transactions on the bridge and sign the appropriate transaction on the other blockchain. So we are kind of taking his work, which is just at a proof of concept stage right now, and working on implementing it in Splinterlands. So that'll be the first use of our governance token, where players can use the Splinter Shards governance token to vote on who the validators are, who the authorities are in the multi-sig accounts. And then those validators can sign the transactions for transferring assets to different chains, or to control multi-sig wallets that hold funds, such as for foundations or DAOs or whatever. And it really kind of, once this is built, will open up a whole lot of options for Hive-based projects to kind of build governance and multi-sig wallets to hold funds, rather than just like one person who created the project to hold all the funds. So we're working on that as an open source project that's going to be built initially specifically for Splinterlands, but pretty generic and easy for anyone on Hive to take and use for their own purposes. So we're pretty excited about that, not just for Splinterlands, but for the entire Hive community going forward. And then lastly, with Splinterland's success recently, we've been able to work with a bunch of third-party tools and platforms in the cryptocurrency space to start adding Hive tokens. So MoonPay is one that allows credit card purchases and bank transfer purchases directly for Hive. I think not available in the US. Most of these, unfortunately, are not available in the US. Simple Swap is like a crypto swapping platform, anonymous, no KYC, and that allows you to swap crypto for Hive. Transact is one that we're planning to release soon, which is another credit card and bank transfer payment option that will allow direct purchases of Hive. And we have a bunch more, of these type of things that are reaching out to us and saying, hey, we want to get involved with Splinterlands. And our response to them is, well, if you want that, you need to support the Hive token because that's the chain that we run on. So, I mean, overall, with these bridges and these tools and just the general success of the project, we've been able to start bringing Hive more into the forefront, which is, honestly, where all of us know it should have been for a long time. But we're really happy to be helping driving that forward in addition to our own project. And then finally, go to the last slide. Finally, I want to say a huge thank you. The artwork on this slide has nothing to do with thank you. I just thought that guy looks super cool. He's one of our new characters in our newest set. But I want to just sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you to the entire Hive community, because like Splinterlands would not be here. I would not be doing what I'm doing. We would not be having any of the success that we've had so far without this community that's been with us for 3.5 years now, which is kind of crazy when you say it out loud. But yeah, this all comes from the awesome community on Hive, and I think, as many people have said, that's really the best thing about Hive and why it's gonna do better than all these other platforms in the long run. This community wins. So thank you, everyone, and it's really great to be here. And now, go buy some CryptoPunks before Marky, or some Hive Punks, I should say, before Marky gives his talk.
Great, thanks. Well, there is actually time for some questions. Are you?
Oh, sure.
You wanna?
Yeah. What do I do here?
Has a question for Jabba from Splinterlands. Okay, I've got the Hive. I'm gonna put you on the air so everybody can hear you and you can ask your question. Okay, the Hive, you're on air. Please ask your question. You have to unmute yourself.
Hello, yep. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to ask about the animation in Splinterlands. And have you got any ideas for the future on developing the animation of the battles?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. We do an AMA every Friday, except not this Friday because of HiveFest. And that question comes up a lot. And Nate Aguila is our creative director. He might be here in the audience somewhere. I'm not sure. He's done a lot of work on really starting to step up the graphics and animation of the entire project. Right now, you know, it's not in the project yet, but we're gonna see a ton more work done, you know, on the battles and all areas to get much more animations, just higher quality graphics and all that stuff.
If you can throw him my name or something like that, maybe he can send me a DM. I'll take 5 minutes of his time and I might put a new idea in his head.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say you can reach out to him, or you know, you just reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with him.
Great. Thanks, the Hive. Nate will be in touch, or you guys should definitely get a room. Jarvie, you also had a question, right?
Yep. Yeah. So if the price of Hive goes up to like $3, what do you guys thinking is going to happen for your price of you're paying for these accounts? What are some of your
so that's a great question. So the account creation fees are actually an adjustable witness parameter. So the witnesses can vote basically on what the account creation fee should be. So it's currently set at 3 Hive, but as the price goes up, I imagine that price will be dropped down. I mean, one consideration that they need to take into account is that if the amount of Hive account creation fee is lowered, then anyone who creates an account will get fewer resource credits kind of by default when they join the platform. So right now, when someone creates a new account, even whether they pay for it or they use an account creation token or whatever, they get 3 Hive power worth of resource credits. So if that fee is dropped to 1 Hive, they will get 1 Hive power worth of resource credits and be able to do less on the blockchain without getting a delegation or powering up. So I would really like to see resource credit delegation pools implemented, you know, as soon as possible before the price of Hive goes up too much. So that way we're able to reduce the costs of creating a new account while also making it easier for services that create new accounts to give the resource credits necessary to everybody so they can interact on the chain.
Okay, cool. Okay, Criodas, you're on the air. Criodas, unmute yourself to be heard. Criodas, in 2, in 1, and we go to Deranged Vision. Hey man, how are you doing? Welcome back on the HiveFest. You're on the air.
What's up?
Hey.
Hello?
Yes, please, pose your question.
I didn't have a question. I was trying to get a seat.
Oh, that's okay. Cheers. Well, you got one. Let's see if Nifty Phil has a question for Jabba from Splinterlands. Nifty Phil, you're on the air. Right. Hey guys, so maybe it will be great for me to explain the concept of the raised hands feature. It's actually a way to give us as a host an indication that you want to ask a question. It's really a funny icon, I know, because and you really want to click it because the user interface really says, "Oh, but look, a new icon! It's the raise hand feature." But maybe I would suggest if you want to click it only when you actually want to ask a question. So and also then you get when you get a notification, okay, you're on the air. Please unmute yourself to be heard. I'm gonna go to Azircon and I give you the megaphone so you can ask your question. Sorry, and now I killed Azircon. That's my fault. Okay, sorry, my fault. Yeah, can happen. Sorry, guys. Computers, you know. Hive trending. On the air.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hey, yabapmatt, Drabs here. So just wanted to kind of say a huge thank you for making this wonderful game. I actually got to co-host the Zen Sports Pigeon Classic last week with Aggie, and since joining this community in July and learning all about the Hive blockchain, it's just been such an incredible experience. You know, got into it through Splinterlands, and now finding out so many about all of the other awesome things involved with Hive. You know, so just kind of a massive thank you for creating such a wonderful game and a welcoming community here, man. And look forward to promoting it and going really far with you guys here. So, yeah, thank you so much.
That is awesome to hear. Thank you, and I'm super glad to have helped. And that's kind of the whole purpose of this of the game. It's not just to have a fun game, but it also like can actually help people and give people opportunities. And there are people who kind of do this as their job and and earn money. And it's really just super cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I ran into Clove, met her, and she was super supportive and kind of helped out with the whole streaming journey. And she just actually got partner on Twitch. So I think the first Splinterlands streamer to get partners. So it's really good to see the game growing so much, and we're all excited for Chaos Legion. So here's to that.
I am too.
Wow.
I am too.
All right. Cool. Thanks, man.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks a lot, guys. That's it for the questions for now. Jabba, I really want to thank you also and congratulate you being the #1 DApp game in the decentralized application space. It's really awesome to see you guys have been growing over the years, and it's really well deserved. Thanks a lot for coming out here on HiveFest, and good luck with the upcoming introductions of new projects, tokens, land sales, and whatever you guys continue to come up with. Is really great to see. Thanks a lot, and have a great
thank you, Roland.
HiveFest. Have a good weekend.
You too. It's great to be here as always.